I was a man with a plan, a successful business owner with my roots firmly planted. That was until I met her. She was vibrant and full of life, but deeply unhappy with her job. Love has its ways, and soon I found myself convinced to leave everything behind, my business, my comfort zone, to start anew with her in a different state. It felt like an adventure, a joint venture fueled by love and dreams. We dove into this new life together. The early days were filled with excitement, the thrill of setting up something from scratch. Then our family grew. We welcomed 2 beautiful children. They brought a joy and purpose to my life I never knew I needed. Yet in the midst of this familial bliss, I couldn't shake off a growing sense of unease. There was a shift in our dynamic, a slow creeping in of discontent that I couldn't quite place. As the years rolled on, the cracks in our marriage began to show. It wasn't just the normal wear and tear of a relationship. It was something deeper, more corrosive. She had a way of making everything about herself, her needs, her desires. The word narcissist gets thrown around a lot these days, but in her case, it fit like a glove. The realization was gradual but undeniable. Small arguments escalated into bitter disputes. I started to feel like I was walking on eggshells, constantly trying to appease her ever-changing moods and demands. Our once harmonious life was turning into a perpetual battlefield. I remember the night I first brought up divorce. It was a desperate cry for change, a hope that maybe this threat would bring us back from the brink, but it only opened Pandora's box. The divorce process was nothing less than an expedition characterized by conflict and grief, similar to a Titanic trial. Every stride forward took me 2 steps back into a maze of court cases and mental distress. Once a sign of hope for a fresh start, the choice to file for divorce has turned into a difficult, never-ending battle of aggression. It became a war for my very spirit, rather than just the breakdown of a marriage. Thought to be simple at first, the proceedings got twisted in her web of deceit and manipulation. She had a way of making the most straightforward accords become complicated arguments. It included more than just allocating assets and choosing living quarters. It involved an ongoing battle with her ego, which appeared to thrive on the tension. The way our kids were caught in the crossfire during this whole affair was the most heartbreaking part. I'd always thought that our children would be off limits and protected from our marital disagreements, regardless of what transpired between us. How mistaken I was. She took full advantage of my love for them, knowing it was my greatest weakness. There were threats and repercussions associated with every choice I made and every negotiation over my time with them. Their naive countenances turned into a weapon in her toolbox, employed to manipulate and dictate my choices. I can still clearly recall the days I spent tormenting over the best course of action. How could I stand up for what was right without making things worse for my kids? The court case was a maze, and at every step I was met with another dead end. The courts, the attorneys, and the never-ending paperwork all appeared to be parts of a mechanism meant to make the suffering worse. I made an effort to keep things somewhat normal for my kids in the middle of this chaos. I balanced being present for them with lawyer meetings and court appearances. But the tension was obvious. The most difficult times came at night, when I would lie awake and relive the day's events, fearing my next contact with her and the ensuing legal challenge. The strain on my mental and emotional well-being increased as the months stretched into years. The divorce process started and dropped 3 times, but has been ongoing for almost 3 years now. I stood by helplessly as settlements and legal costs sucked away my savings. Still, giving up was not an option. Giving up meant losing more than just possessions. It meant losing my entire identity as a man and a father. Even in the darkest hours, I held on to the belief that justice would ultimately triumph, and that this agonizing journey would soon come to an end. However, that hope was a brittle thing, always in danger from the next legal ploy, the next charge, or the next emotional assault. This period of my life served as a monument to perseverance as I fought every day to protect my moral character and my parental rights. Every inch won felt like a mile in this tug of war, and every loss served as a reminder of the huge stakes involved. It was a tiring but essential battle, one that was necessary for my children's future as much as mine. Every conversation we had was stressful. She had this amazing ability to escalate even the most friendly conversation into a heated argument. She has an unusual ability to turn any discussion into an argument, so I try not to talk to her on the phone. She contacted today to let me know that she plans to change both her last name and the last names of the kids. She said this to test my reaction, not because she planned to actually do it. The calls regarding renaming the children and throwing away our pictures were all a part of her strategy, which involved constant psychological warfare. I gained the ability to pick my battles and keep my cool around her provocations. However, it was extremely tiring and sapped all of my vitality and soul. It was all-consuming. The mental assault, the lying, the manipulating. Every conversation with her was very stressful. She had this uncanny ability to turn even the most benign chat into an explosive argument, so I avoid talking to her on the phone. Today, she called me to let me know that she plans to change both her last name and the last names of the kids. She said this to test my reaction. Patience, not because she planned to actually do it. The calls about changing the kids' names is all part of her game, a relentless psychological warfare. I told her that I don't care, but she still needs my consent to change their last names. Another call last week to say that she is throwing away every picture of her and I had together. I learned to choose my battles wisely, to maintain my composure in the face of her provocations. But it was exhausting, draining every bit of my energy and spirit. The mental abuse, the deceit, the manipulation. It was all consuming. 20 years, that's how long it's been since we said I do. Now, as I stand on the brink of finally being free, I'm a shell of the man I once was. Financially ruined, emotionally battered but not broken. The love for my kids has been my anchor through this storm. They are the silver lining in this dark cloud, the reason I keep fighting, keep pushing through. The divorce is close to its final chapter, and with it, I hope to find some sort of peace, a chance to rebuild from the ruins. Now she says she wants to drop the whole proceeding, our divorce case, our battle, and get back together. What? I'm so tired of it all. Her games, her mental abuse, the deceit and the manipulation. I dream of a day when I wake up without this weight on my chest, a day when I can truly be free. Until then, I hold on to the hope of a new beginning, a life where I can be the father my kids deserve, and a man at peace with himself. Sorry for my rant.